Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. This might not seem like an important video, but it's a very important video. And it might be a topic that doesn't interest you too much, but it should interest you a lot. And I hope some of you will watch this video and share it, because I'm going to break this down as simply and as quickly as I can as to why you need to be aware of what the New World Order really is. Global communism. Throughout history, civilians have fought against communism. Civilians don't want communism. You might remember in the 50s and 60s, the 40s, in America, communism was always the enemy of humanity. And in today's world, they've repackaged communism. It's called wokeism. It's called being a Democrat. And they don't see the propaganda for what it actually is. They're using all of these new tactics to convince these people that communism is the friend of humanity without telling them it's actually communism. So I'm going to show you a few things here. This has everything to do with words like community. These are all words that they're using to manipulate people. Environment, community. It's really about infringing on your day-to-day life. It's really about getting inside your household and ultimately owning nothing and being happy, right? We all seen the meme from the World Economic Forum, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Well, it couldn't be further from the truth. Private property is a must for human beings. All one has to do is be around a child, a young child, if you have cousins, your own kids, nephews, nieces, grandchildren. Watch a child at a young age around another child. They don't want to share necessarily things that are important to them, right? Child might have a doll. Somebody might try to take that doll that the child's very close to, and the child gets very upset about it, right? This is natural human instinct. People are supposed to have private property. In global communism, you own nothing and you will not be happy. But they know that if you figure out what they're trying to do, that you'll be against communism. So they're doing things like this, okay? This is something that they just aired on the Today Show called the buy nothing trend. Watch how they manipulate people out there. Again, they start with ways like this, little subtle things, where people see it and they don't get what they're seeing. And they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is great. We should share everything. And they don't realize this has nothing to do with kindness. This is how they're marketing it to you. I'm all for sharing things with people in need. I'm all for not wasting things, throwing things away if somebody else could use it. But if you pay attention and you understand global communism, this is how you start marketing it to dumb down people. This is the buy nothing trend they're promoting. And make sure you stick around because I'm going to show you exactly what this leads to. Take a look at this and read between the lines.
One of my favorite money-saving tips is to find a buy nothing group.
Call it the summer of frugal. With inflation still sitting above 3%, Americans are turning to buy nothing groups on Facebook to meet their needs without spending a penny.
Buying a whole patio set is costly these days, and we were able to just get one from someone who was just giving it away.
Jennifer Schluning is a member of a buy nothing group in Cranford, New Jersey. We toured her backyard.
This is a whole garden you have going,
which is made up entirely of items she received for free.
We have spinach, tomatoes, basil, mints.
That looks amazing. These are really healthy.
Courtesy of her community.
What would you say to someone who's interested in joining a group like this?
I would say, if you need something, you might as well just ask for it. You never know who is around who's willing to give you something.
But Jennifer doesn't just receive, she gives too, and showed us how these groups work.
So you're giving away this vase, these little flowers, and this picture frame?
Yes. And all you do is you basically just take a quick pic of the items that you want to post and say that you're giving it and hit post. And then you just see who wants to come and get your items. So Vicky just left and someone responded to my post. So now I'm going to put it on my porch for them to come and pick up.
There are more than 8,000 buy nothing groups worldwide on Facebook with 10 million neighbors who've joined. In the groups, members post items up for grabs, everything from soon-to-be expired bread to jewelry, baby toys, and used furniture. It's all part of a movement to reduce waste and use what's already in our homes and backyards.
I want to show you guys something beautiful that I found today. She is a 1976 Kenmore machine, and I got her for $0.
Think of us as a department store before you go out and actually go to buy that.
Lisa Clark is the co-founder of the Buy Nothing Project. She helps communities create these social media pages, and the project launched an app for those not on social media.
there is someone in your community that could use exactly what it is that you may no longer need.
It's not just about saving money and reducing waste. The group is also a place neighbors turn to when they need help.
Bunny goes hop hop.
Mom of two, Lauren Jebwin, ran out of a specialized formula for her daughter, so she posted in the Cranford Buy Nothing group.
Not just one person responded, like multiple people respond. And that I think is the most amazing thing. Like the generosity is just, it doesn't end. There's no judgment. There's no like, oh my goodness, you don't have formula. It was, here, I have it for you.
What started as a social experiment has led to successful connections, friendships, and stronger communities.
This is mutual aid. We are taking care of each other by sharing the things that we might not no longer need, but it will make a world of difference to a nearby family.
And saving money and the environment at the same time.
There you go. That's it.
So when you go through the comment section underneath that video, you see a lot of people who have no clue about what's going on. They don't know what communism even is because they don't teach it anymore. And again, communism has always been the enemy of humanity. And this is how it starts, with propaganda like this. Because if they came out and told you that it was flat out communism, people would be suspicious. So they do little things like this, the buy nothing trend. And then it leads to more and more sharing, community sharing. Nothing wrong with community. There's nothing wrong with caring about your neighbor. But these are deceitful ways that they're doing it. So underneath that video, there's comments like this. Finally, the news covering an important topic that will help the environment. I love my Buy Nothing group. Save money, reduce waste, help your neighbors. It's the can I borrow a cup of sugar neighborly community feeling, right? As a member of the Buy Nothing group, I love that we're moving toward it takes a village, this whole mindset, right? This is not a problem, having this mindset about caring about your neighbor. But what they don't seem to understand is that the government is making this problem that people are having, being able to afford things. The government's deliberately doing this. This isn't because of this happening overseas or that happening there. The government is sabotaging. So they're making it so that people aren't able to earn money. This is called destroying the middle class. This is how you bring in communism, right? And a lot of these fools out there, a lot of these people who like government handouts, who rather stay home and play video games all day, they don't seem to understand that when they continue to do this and they continue to have this mindset, hey, share with your neighbor, everybody pitch in, there's going to be a group of global elites who rule and reign over us. You see, while we all are on the same economic level, none of us are going to be allowed to earn more than anybody else. None of us are going to be allowed to own anything. But you think that applies to Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos? These creeps out there? Of course not. The corporations run everything. And for people out there, all they're doing when they see this stuff is they're looking at their next door neighbor who might have 5 cars or 3 cars and saying they have too much. It's overconsumption. They're looking at the people around them instead of looking at the people who are pushing this type of propaganda to manipulate them. You may remember some of these frightening clips. And again, the Democratic Party, to me, it's insane how anybody could support the Democrats. And you see, again, you could see the common people that support it. You could look at them and know that they're Democrats, right? Weak, very, very, very weak men and empowered women who don't understand that they're being targeted by communism. This goes back to the 50s, and I'll show you this clip first, and then an important clip that everybody needs to see about how the government's trying to get in your household. But this is the Communist Democrat Party talking about how your children are our children. This shared community of children, right? Everybody's kids, it's part of a community, right? Everybody should have a say in everybody else's kids' lives. This is what they want ultimately, right? This is what they've been flat out telling you about community children, shared children.
You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Probably, but children are the kite strings. They're not somebody else's children. They're all our children.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investment.
So that's what their mindset is. That your kids, this is communism. Everything belongs to the government, including your kids. And again, this is a world where right now, we're literally in the month of June, through the month of June, we saw Sodom and Gomorrah just being shoved down everybody's throats, right? We saw all of these, the depravity going on around the world where a certain group of people can even ride on a cross and mock Christians out in the open, and that's okay. And these are the people that they want to be able to have access to your children. And you think that's crazy? Well, here's a clip that I've used many times from old communist propaganda films. I used to play this in schools. I used to play this to warn people about communist propaganda and how the government was going to, government overreach, ending capitalism. And this clip is frightening. This is, the government coming to the front door and taking away a parent's child. Now, what's scarier is that the child is consenting to this. The child, the daughter of this man, is going, I want to leave. I want to go with Big Brother. And that's exactly what you're seeing going on now. That's why you see this women's empowerment movement. They're the foot soldiers of the New World Order. That's why I say the women who follow channels like mine, good, strong Christian women, are so important in today's world. They feel like they're not important, but they couldn't be more important. It's the empowered women out there, the Me Too type of women out there who don't have a clue that they're actually being targeted deliberately by the government with this propaganda to make them act the way that they're acting. They're trying to use them to empower this new world order. But this is government, this is what they used to play to warn people about how frightening communism looks.
Sergeant, check the kitchen. You look in the back. I'll be upstairs. Bam!
What is this? Where do you think you're going?
We have no time for explanations. Already we are 15 minutes behind schedule.
I don't care who sent your why. You're not going to take another step until I see your warrant.
Warrant? We need no warrant. As a member of the Young Communist League, your daughter has volunteered for farm work. She's to be transported immediately. The truck is waiting outside.
You say my daughter volunteered?
That is correct. Here's the signature. Requesting transport to the People's Collective.
Signature on that piece of paper is false. And everything you've said is a lie because my daughter would never leave here of her own free will.
Sergeant!
You've got no right to be in this house. I'm going to give you just 10 seconds to get out of here.
Daddy? It's true, Daddy. I did volunteer for farm work.
Brenda, why?
The party convinced me that I should free myself of the lingering bourgeois influence of family life. I am ready. Do not interfere. It is for my own good.
And Comrade Donovan, do not think that your deviationist remarks shall be overlooked. They will be reported to the proper authorities.
Frightening, isn't it?
And you can see, again, they target women, they target children, they target minorities with this propaganda to empower them. They don't realize that what they're doing is becoming a force field for a communist new world order. Satan's government is a communist government. Now, you could look at that clip and say, well, that girl's old enough to make her own decisions. The whole moral of the story was that the government is targeting your kids and getting your kids to sign up and consent to things that they shouldn't even be signing up for, but they're under extreme mind control and propaganda from the government themselves. And it all starts with stuff like the buy nothing trend, because it sounds innocent. You see that and you say to yourself, of course, oh, wow, that's really great. I have some extra stuff that I'd like to get rid of. I don't want to waste it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But that's not airing on the Today Show because they want other people to be helped out by your garbage in your backyard and give it to someone else, and your garbage could be someone else's treasure. That's not why they're airing this. This is how they just plant seeds in your head for a communist society. Community, buying nothing, less consuming, less consumption, do it for the environment, right? And nobody out there, they all hear that stuff. They're like, that is a good idea. We do waste, we do this. And they don't realize that they're doing this to destroy the middle class so that there's a ruling class over all of us. And that's really the point that needs to be made, okay? If ever, it's the same thing with the gun grab and gun control, right? I'm sure most civilians, I would be, all for the elimination of guns in society. But that means that every single gun would have to be wiped off the face of the earth. And nobody would ever be allowed to have one, create one, or in any way, shape, or form use one, right? Then I'm for it. The problem is that we can't allow certain people to have and certain people to not have, because that's how you get tyranny, right? The government being allowed to arm themselves and the civilians not is a problem. That's why so many, this is the thing that Democrats don't understand or the libs don't understand. That's the mindset of most people. But what they see are a lot of these viral videos of these crazy gun enthusiasts, and it makes them sick. And then they see the false flag events that the government creates at schools to make them want to grab their guns. That's how this whole thing works, right? So I would be for it if the government got rid of theirs, but they're not going to. So who's trusting the government? Have you seen them lately? Republican or Democrat? It's the same thing with this. Right? You talk about sharing stuff. It's not natural to have no private property. It's just not. It's not. People out there are like, well, I don't think it's fair that other people are able to buy land or buy a house. Well, hard work does pay off. Now, if you spent your whole life trying to chase something that's unachievable, like becoming the next pop star or the next movie star, well, that's on you for falling for it. But we can't allow certain groups and certain people to hold the resources and hold the wealth over the rest of society. And that's what their plan is. That's what you're seeing happen. And Democrats don't get it because they just see stuff like buy nothing and they go, that's really wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. When I see a homeless person, I often try to help them the best I can. We all do, I think, right? We don't need to talk about it or brag about it. I think we all just naturally do that. Good people don't want to see other people suffer. That's a fact. But this is propaganda at its finest. This mindset is what they're trying to implant in people's minds. It starts with the buy nothing trend. It just filters down to, hey, your kids are my kids. Suddenly, you keep giving them more and more overreach, more and more power. They take it, give them an inch, they take a mile mindset. Then the government's like, well, we don't want you raising your own kids. The community should raise your kids. And you're like, well, why should the community raise? Well, you got a Bible in your house. I don't know, there's stuff in there about Sodom and Gomorrah. We don't know. Let the child make the decision. The child at 5 years old? Yes, let the child at 5 years old make the decision. With the way technology is now, the child should be able to make the decision. Next thing you know, your child's making decisions having no clue other than the propaganda it's getting fed about what a right decision is and what a wrong decision is, because the child doesn't know right from wrong. And that's because of the government. And that's the way they want this to go. So then suddenly you have community children, right? Then suddenly you go, how did we get to this point where we're allowing the government to say, hey, we're going to let the community raise the kid and not the parents in the household raise the kid? And you go, oh, wait, where did it start? Well, it starts with things like this. This is seed planting. Of course, you see all the people comment. They think it's a wonderful thing because they don't even understand how the government propaganda machine works. That's what that is. They didn't put that on national news because they're like, hey, we're going to get views and clicks if we talk about this. They're getting it because they want more and more people to sign up for the buy nothing trend. They want more and more people. I covered this last year, even though I'm a new YouTuber. This whole mindset of, hey, don't buy anything for the year. This is a government propaganda to push you into communism without you realizing it, right? Overconsumption is not a good thing. I agree. But in a capitalist society, we're not going to debate about capitalism and communism because there's extremes with capitalism that I could agree with and say, well, that's a little bit ridiculous. But communism is a satanic government. That's what it is. Global communism is a government which is run by a certain group of people who do not live by the same standards as everyone else. So they're allowed to fly around in their private jets. They're allowed to control all the food. They're allowed to sabotage everything so that we're forced into enslavement. And that's what it is. And that's why humanity's always fought against it. So what you're seeing now is repackaged communism in the year 2024. That's all that stuff is. It's not a stretch to look at it and say that. They do this, they have mastered this so much so that they can do it this way, that they have a grip over these people's minds. And all these people in the comments, they're like, I'm going to sign up for the buy nothing trend. I'm not going to buy anything now. Okay, there's nothing wrong with giving away your old furniture to help someone else instead of throwing it in a dumpster. That's great. But remember, the goal here is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And they're literally telling you that in their messaging, that ownership, that community is a way better thing to have a community than to have private property. And it starts with stuff like this and it ends with your kids, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your cat, your dog, your couch, your bed. They're living in your home because you don't own it anymore. That's what the globalists want. And that's why this is a threat. And they pretend and they smile at you like Biden and Kamala. And they're like, we care about everybody. They don't give a crap about any of us. White, black, gay, straight, man, woman, they don't care. This is what they want. And they're using psychological warfare to convince you that this is what's for the betterment of humanity. Instead of saying, why are we, people struggling so much to be able to buy patio furniture? Why is it so expensive? And why are people making less money? Like, oh, inflation, it comes and it goes in cycles. It's sabotage. That's what it is. The government's making it this way. They're making it unaffordable to live. They're forcing this on all of us. And the people should be rising up against it. And it starts with Going after throwing these people out of office. Or, if you don't want to throw them out of office because people obviously aren't going to go and throw them out, then just starting a new government and just ignoring the one that's in place because it's a bunch of corrupt criminals and corporations, right? Those are the enemies of humanity. Look at the corporations, the Walmarts, the Amazons. They're the ones who are responsible for brainwashing people with this type of propaganda. And they're the ones sitting at the top of the pyramid. And they're not going to be throwing you a life raft. They're going to be throwing you an anvil to tie around your ankle. That's how they want the rest of the way. That's the way that the world's going to go. That's what their goal is. That's global communism. I thank you for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless all of you as always and your families.